Dele, waiting for you.
Which part?
Well, you have a unique perspective too, because you have a global perspective. Um, what do you think? I'm not even concerned about what I can do better because I don't care anymore about that. Uh, I'm not so much worried about that part. But what is it that the younger people, younger than you, and I think Brett and I are considerably older than y'all. And I'm thinking, why is it that I don't know, I know about the lazy part of technology, but what am I missing that makes people, like you say, not read a contract? That's, if it's 4 or 5 pages, it's 4 or 5 pages. Um, that should not be difficult to do in 2025. I I don't want to sound condescending, but help me, and then I'll let you answer, Brett. But what am I missing daily? And then go to Brett because he's my age. So I'm missing something. Why are these people this lazy? Or what? Why can't they read?
Well, I mean, it depends on the context of what you're saying. Why can't they read? I mean, if you're
Why
worried,
won't?
what'd you say?
Why aren't they doing what's necessary to be like Mike talked about his father, his grandparents? Matrix spoke to my dad. Tandrik is working, and he's like, my dad is 85 and still sentient. He reads every day. I'm blessed with that. My dad never went to an integrated school. He has 4 degrees.
Right,
He,
right.
what are young people missing?
Well, I mean, like I said, it depends on the context of what you said when you're saying why can't they read or what are they reading. If you're talking in the sense of contracts and law, I know one of the issues, one of the barriers I had to overcome when I started my case was, understanding how to read law, because when you read it, it reads almost like Shakespeare. I don't know anybody who's ever picked up Shakespeare the first time and really understood it. Because the first time I read it is like, bitch, you could have said this a whole lot simpler, but that in their time, that's the way they spoke.
There's an evolution of language, right?
Right. So there is one, the context of what you're reading, but then there's two, why don't you have the grits to stick with it? That could be a whole nother, topic. For me, one of the things as far as, higher learning was that, yeah, I may have forgot some of the context of what I learned in there, but the skill set I learned in the ability to critical think, research, and and the tenacity to stick with something is something that's translated towards my career. And not only my career in programming, now that is also translating into this arena now that I find myself in. You know, 10 years from now, I never planned I'll be in family law or family court or anything of that matter. But now, even like I even talked to you this morning, where I'm like, look, I'm even thinking about my strategy and I'm trying to shoot holes in it, because again, when I'm programming, that's what I do. They call it defensive programming, where it's like I want to. There's also this thing where it's like you have to program for idiots. The world is producing more idiots than programs. So it's like when I program, I'm trying to say, okay, if I'm expecting a number in this field, what should happen if someone puts an alphabetical character in there? You know, so yeah, for me, it's just again, what are they reading? How are you sticking to learning that process and whatnot? This now again, I can't answer that for them, because for me, I just have a natural curiosity to figure out how things work, and I just won't put it down. And to in my career, it's been to my benefit. In other aspects of my life, it hasn't been. For example, in the romantic field, where it's like if I broke up with someone and it didn't make sense, it would bother me for months because like this is not logical, you know. So that's the downside to it. But that's just something natural that I have.
I, um, I was thinking about as you were speaking about the critical thinking, and I know that I haven't been inside of a classroom in a while, but I have a close association with some teachers, and I'm just trying to figure out what is it that is being missed that would help me help more people. What's up, JC? That would help more people. Um, well, I guess I'm just trying to figure these people out. because you can't be lazy and do this, that's for sure. Um, I can, you know, we can draft documents now. Brett, you went from, well, you never stopped really drafting and never had this, you never had to stop using your skill for writing, did you, Brett? I know you're a math guy, but your writing skills, you use them every day, correct?
Every day, man. I'm constantly improving. I have to.
Okay. Uh, MJ, you use yours every day as well? You write every day, read every day?
Yeah. I definitely read every day. I mean, that's something that I do. Writing, maybe emails every now and then, but not too much. Not too much. I'm writing up, but math for sure.
I don't know. I just, I listen to some people speak, and I've spoken to some people that are younger, and they say things. I'm like, you had to learn in school that that's not accurate. And they'll send me a link from what somebody's talking about. So you want me to watch an op-ed that doesn't address what the issue is. And I'm just wondering, what can we do a little bit differently potentially? 'Cause I mean, I doubt I'll never go back. I shouldn't say never. I have no expectations of going back into the school system, because you're dealing with different creatures. At one time, I thought my career could have been there, just like I thought it could have been in the military. Now there's no way in the heck. Although I'm in theory kind of at the back end of things, I would never want to go into a classroom. Although I can see where there's a need for some disciplined uh edu some discipline within education to help push forward academics the way it was. We all went through a totally different time. I know Brett and I for sure went through a totally different learning process that I would think would be 10 times harder than what it would be today. Wouldn't you agree, Brett? Like, just like it's not even difficult today.
Yeah, and back when I was in school, they had a thing called the paddle. So if you didn't do what you're supposed to do,
Yeah, we definitely had that as well. You know,
yeah,
I look at mine, and I feel so blessed. My daughter is going to be she gets her PharmD, her doctorate on May 2nd, and I think about it, and she didn't get to finish. That daughter didn't get to finish school early because she went to a private school. My son's the same thing, but after I thought about it, I said, dang, he'll be graduating next year. Just the time flies. But my daughter who went to a private school, she finished early because of everything that was available to her to get out early, even get in college while she was in high school. So I'm just wondering, what is it that has caused some stagnation, some regression? Granted, there's been definitely some progress for certain people academically, but within our community, which is Brett is actually like the one off because we're realizing that maybe it's there's definitely some issues I think that are on the racial aspect when it comes to this thing, but god damn man, he makes this shit complicated because the rules are the rules, and there seems to be a lot more ego involved in the decisions, or a lot more of something else. I don't know if the guy don't like him. Um, is it because I do not know. In Brett's case is a one-off that I won't say a one-off. His case is so unique, that it makes me just wonder, I don't want to be a conspiracy theorist, but I'm just trying to figure it out. Like, what's the problem with ruling right along the law? So, especially in light of what happened with Mike. It was just it went so smoothly, and she just seemed to stay within the structures. I don't know if it's because and you both in the same state, so that's kind of weird. JC, when you read his case and you look at the facts of his case, things happened in New York that should not have happened. Just shouldn't have happened because not because it's not fair, not because I don't want to get into this. These people operate. The law is so, what's it called, bright lined, that these things should never have happened.
yeah, black letter law.
It's just like, it's not ambiguous, especially when it's statutory. It's the statute says this, you got to do that. You can't exercise outside the statute. you can exercise outside of a rule because there's rules and exceptions to rules, and there's exceptions to the exceptions.